Well, a question. When I say I, where do you localize that? Is it here at the elbow or at the knee or behind the eyes and the skull? No, no. When you look honestly, you will not find I in cartilage or calcium, not in blood or breath. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. I am not in the physical. In him we live and move and have our being. If I live and move and have being in God, then I do not live and move and have being inside a rib cage. You can't leave what you were never in. You cannot be trapped by what never contained you. This is not poetry. This is the first axiom of freedom. The I that speaks, that beholds, that loves is not a bundle of nerves. It is the life of God individualized as consciousness. So the question rises with moral weight. How do we honor the body without becoming it? How do we tend the house without mistaking the house for the inhabitant? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost which is in you? Temple, not self. Temple, not throne. Steward the temple, don't worship it. For the command still stands as law, not suggestion. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. When flesh is deified, fear is enthroned. When spirit alone is God, fear dissolves. If the body is my God, I must cling to it, carve it, boast of it, and tremble for it. If God is God, I may tend this temple as a sacred trust and never bow down to its changes. Absent from the body and present with the Lord is not a geography of dying. It is a posture of living. It means presence first, practices second. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. I am not saying neglect the temple. I am saying recognize the owner. I am not saying despise the form. I am saying identify with the life that animates the form. Then the hand that feeds, the foot that walks, the lung that breathes are not ends to be worshipped, but instruments through which the symphony of God is heard. Watch what happens as identity loosens from flesh. Compulsion softens, vanity silences. Fear loses its clutch. If a pane of glass is dusty, I do not accuse the sunlight. I wipe the glass. If this temple aches, I do not panic as if I, the I of me, were fractured. I attend to the window, but I live in the light. If this temple shines with vigor, I do not strut. I give thanks that the window is clear. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. In that humility, care rises, worship falls. Let us set the intention that will govern every practice that may follow. Be still and know. Before regimen, presence. Before rule-keeping, realization. I and my Father are one. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. In that oneness, the wisdom to tend this temple arrives without strain, without superstition, without the idolatry of flesh. Be still and know that I am God becomes the doorway. And through that doorway, health is not managed as a private project, but revealed as an aspect of harmony. Therefore, as we move forward, we shall not clutch at the body to save a self. We shall not flee the body to prove a self. We shall stand where Scripture stands. God first, temple next, all under grace. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And because this is so, we begin here in quiet certainty. I am not in the physical. I am the witness of God's life. The temple is his. The care is his. I consent to steward, not to worship. Absent from the body, present with the Lord. Presence first, practices second. And thus the fear of losing what I never was fades into the joy of tending what God loves. Temple, not trophy. If this form is a possession, then at once the claws of ownership sink in, grasping, anxiety, comparison. If it is mine as a prize, I must polish it and parade it, fear its scratch, envy another's shine. But if it is a temple, God's house entrusted to my keeping, then my hands quiet, my heart steadies, my eyes look inward to the owner for instruction. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Not youth is God, not fitness is God, not numbers on a scale is God, not metrics is God. God alone is God. The temple is trust. You see the difference? In possession, there is strain. In stewardship, there is rest. In possession, there is measurement and comparison. In stewardship, there is obedience and praise. No, I am not in the physical, and therefore I cannot own it. I can serve it with reverence because I serve the life that gives it breath. Think of a housekeeper in a great estate. Does the housekeeper call the foyer I? Does she boast of the banister as herself? No. She tends the floors, polishes the railing, mends the roof, and when guests arrive, the house welcomes them with order and warmth. And at closing hour, the housekeeper bows inwardly. The house is the owner's. I have only kept it as charged. So, with this body, I sweep it, feed it, rest it, dress it, but I do not make a god of its sparkle, nor do I despair at its weather. I am merely the instrument. God is the actor and the keeper of this temple. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. If the Lord builds, my labor is a consent, a faithful attendance. If I build as if I were the owner, I build in vain and reap the vexation that attends idolatry. Stewardship is not self-improvement. It is not the ego trying to upgrade its idol. Stewardship is alignment with impersonal law. It is obedience to the one. As you sow, so shall ye reap is not a threat. It is the steady mathematics of spirit. 2 times 2 is 4, whether you love it or hate it. So too, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and thy neighbor as thyself is law, not sentiment, violated with vanity and comparison, and you have violated principle, and principle will not bend to applaud your program. Keep it in humility, and harmony appears without trumpet or headline. This is why, when I notice the mind begin to enthrone appearance, biceps, complexion, age, I answer with the commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before one. I return to oneness. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, the intelligence to tend this temple is not personal cleverness. It is grace acting as function. You know how a traffic law does not love you or hate you. It simply operates. Try driving against it to prove your freedom, and you meet its impersonal correction. So here, bow to the law of one and walk in peace. Worship the flesh and find yourself policed by fear, tickets issued by anxiety, fines paid in sleepless nights. Man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Stewardship looks where the Lord looks. It asks, not how do I look to men, but how does this temple serve the presence? It takes food, sleep, movement, medicine if needed, and places each under the first commandment, not under public opinion. It does not hype. It does not manipulate. It simply attends, because the owner is holy and his house is his joy. So listen, I hold this form the way a gardener holds a sapling, firm enough to stake, gentle enough not to bruise, and wise enough to know that growth is God's. I do what is mine to do, and I refuse what is not. I refuse the recital of vanity. I refuse the whip of comparison. I refuse the panic of possession. I accept the yoke that is easy and the burden that is light. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Therefore, I say, absent from the body as identity, present with the Lord as life, I keep the temple without worshiping it, and in that holy stewardship, care rises and worship falls, and I thank you. Now, method. If the temple is not a trophy, and I am not in the physical, how do I practice this truth? When the knee aches, when the mind chatters, when the world shouts, be still and know that I am God. Not a figure of speech, a procedure. Take a chair, not too high, not too deep. It will be a chair low enough so the feet find the floor without strain. Sit upright, not stiff. Let the shoulders sink a little, like a robe slipping from a hook. Place the hands loosely on the thighs or in the lap, never hooked on the chair arms, never propped, never tensed. There is no occult reason for any of this, only one of physical ease. In this arrangement, the nerves quiet, the muscles stop talking, and with eyes lightly closed, I grow virtually unaware of having a body, absent from the body as identity, present with the Lord as life. Now, do not reach for a result. Do not bargain with spirit. Desireless. No petitions, no projects. Thy Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. So I sit, and if a thought rises to get, to fix, to change, I let it pass as a bird across a wide sky. If an itch comes, scratch it and be done. If a knee complains, adjust once and stop. Do not make a shrine to sensation. Gently set it aside. Notice, release, return. In returning, I whisper, not to persuade God, but to quiet the mind's commerce. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Again, not to convince, but to consent. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Each time the mind grabs, I lay it down upon that phrase as one lays a coat upon a chair. The coat holds, the mind rests. Breath, let it breathe you. Do not count it. Do not manage it. The wind bloweth where it listeth. When the breath deepens on its own, fine. When it shallows, fine. You are not the bellows of God. You are his witness. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. So we wait not empty like a void, but open like a field after rain. This is not hypnosis. This is not autosuggestion. There is no manipulating images, no pushing thoughts around, no sending power here or there. God is the actor. I am merely the instrument. I wait in a state of receptivity, sometimes 2 minutes, sometimes 20. I do not look at the clock. I do not look for the light. I look to the stillness. The prayer that I am praying is not asking. It is yielding. Live thou thy life as this temple. Fulfill thyself here. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Little by little, a quiet assent arrives. Not a voice, not a vision, a hush that says yes. It is the felt readiness before any movement, the pause under the surface when a lake ceases to ripple. When that quiet is present, I need not consult 100 rules. The temple's true caretaker is audible, not in words, but as peace, as a light pressure of rightness. The Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Should distraction return, we do not fight. We do not scold. We return. We return 100 times if needed. And every return is obedience. Every return is worship of the one, not of the form. And in that obedience, something happens that is not our doing. The sense of in a body gives way to in God. In my oneness with God, I find my rest. And in that rest, wise care begins to form itself without blueprint, without strain. We rose to sit. Now we may rise to act, but not before the quiet assent. Until then, we wait. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. The knocking is the silence. The opening is the assent. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And I thank you. There comes a moment in that silence, not a spectacle, not a trumpet, a moment. The click. Is it a heat in the hands? No. Is it a light behind the eyes? No. It is the slightest settling, as when a door finds its latch and the rattle stops. It is the whisper that bears the weight of certainty. I and my Father are one, not made by you, not staged by breathing tricks or sacred syllables. The click is not a product. It is a recognition. It is the end of bargaining and the beginning of being. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. In our silence, the door is not kicked open. It is yielded to, and it finds its fit. The soul knows its place in God, and the mind bows out of the way. When that click is felt, it is not fireworks. It is function. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea, including the wise tending of this body temple. Hear that well. Oneness with God is not a cloud nine. It is an engine. It moves without drama and orders without argument. Suddenly, without consulting a calendar of rules. Rest now, water now, walk now, call now, be still now. There is no compulsion in it, no whip, no scoreboard. It is like a river taking its curve by nature, not by vote. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. When the click comes, stepping is ordered. You do not manage the river. You let the river carry you, and the banks are not bruised. Do not try to manufacture this. Do not sit and squeeze your mind until a feeling arrives. That is not the way. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. God is the actor. I am merely the instrument. The click is grace acknowledging itself as your very life. You cannot pull the trigger on God, but you can remove the finger from your own private trigger and wait. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Say it not to coerce a mood, but to wrest the mind from its projects. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. In that rest, the click is free to announce itself. And when it does, it will not flatter you. It will employ you. More than once, I have risen from that chair and found myself pouring a glass of water with no debate, as naturally as dawn follows night. No sheet of metrics told me 8 ounces at this hour. Grace told me, and I obeyed. At other times, the instruction was, walk to the window and breathe the fresh air. And at still other times, go back to the chair and be quiet. Once the click sent me to the telephone, not to preach, not to fix, only to listen. And in that listening, a friend's burden lightened, and so did mine. The body temple participates in this obedience. Joints loosen, breath eases, fatigue dissolves. In a brief lie down that was not on the agenda but was on the altar. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Returning and resting are not laziness under grace, they are precision under law. Understand, this is not passivity. It is higher activity. It is not rule keeping. It is rightful order. Imagine the difference between pushing a stalled car and stepping into a car whose engine has quietly come alive. The push is sweat and strain. The engine is power translated into motion with the lightest touch. The click is the ignition. When it comes, care is not a campaign of self-improvement. It is obedience to a living rhythm. And because it is impersonal law expressing itself, one God, one life, one flow, there is no pride in it. No trumpet when you choose soup instead of spectacle. No shame when you lie down instead of pretending a hero's grind. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Now, you will be tempted to check the click by consulting 3 books and 2 devices. Resist. Let grace, not metrics, set the pace. The law of spirit does not despise information, but it never bows to it. Information may confirm after the fact, but instruction rises from within the click. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace sets the rhythm. Thy grace regulates the watch without my staring at the dial. When I lean on that sufficiency, the temple is kept without fretting. The owner orders. The steward consents. The house is at peace. And so I say, seek not the click, seek God. And the click appears as recognition. Seek not a feeling, seek the one and the feeling that matters. Peace will quietly occupy the house. Then care ceases to be management and becomes worship in action. I am not in the physical. I am in God. In my oneness with God, I find right rest, right movement, right nourishment, right timing. I do not command them. I receive them and I obey. The river runs and I am carried. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And I thank you. Lao now, not feeling, not private mood law. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. As you sow, so shall you reap. And this is not poetry. It is the mathematics of spirit. 2 times 2 is 4, whether you smile or scowl. Align with one, and harmony follows as surely as numbers keep their place. Violate the law of one. Set up a second God, called flesh, called appearance, called approval, and the very principle you try to bend will correct you. Don't ever tamper with a cosmic law. It is a double-edged sword. It blesses in its own way, and it rebukes in its own way, and it does both impersonally. There can be no selfish purpose in a cosmic law. Take this into the temple. If I attempt to use spiritual truth to parade a result, I have already broken the first commandment. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. If I fast to be seen, if I train to be envied, if I rest to be praised for balance, I have changed the altar into a stage. No, no. Temple care is ethical obedience, not spiritual vanity. Of mine own self I can do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. Health without idolatry is simply this: God first, temple next, all under grace. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, the care of this body is not a project of ego, but an outcome of law. Think of traffic. The red light does not create kindness in drivers. It structures safe flow. The signal says stop. The signal says go. It does not flatter. It does not scold. It simply orders movement so lives are not shattered at the intersection. So, with spiritual law, it does not make you spiritual by applause. It orders your steps so your acts do not collide with your neighbor's good. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. When the law of one governs, the inward signals change you from impulse and show into timing and peace. Stop now, go now, yield now. Not to impress a witness, but to prevent the crash of self-will. Where law is honored, traffic flows. Where one is honored, care flows. This is why the click cannot be used. It can only be obeyed. Use is arrogance. Obedience is worship. If after the click, the instruction is rest and I rest, that is law fulfilled. If the instruction is eat simply and I obey, that is law fulfilled. If the instruction is walk in the cool of the day and I move, that is law fulfilled. But if I multiply these obediences into a system to sell or a halo to wear, the edge returns to face me. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. When the temple is kept by secret obedience, the Father who seeth in secret rewards openly, not with medals, but with quiet order. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Do not attempt to wield power. Power is not a tool. It is God himself. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. The moment I try to make power do my bidding, to fix appetite so I can boast, to silence pain so I can strut, to command sleep so I can grind more, the work turns to cinders in my hands. No, yield. Let the law carry you as the river carries the leaf. The leaf does not paddle. The law does not fail. In my oneness with God, I find my sufficiency, and sufficiency never brags. Ethics, then, are built in one God. Love thy neighbor as thyself. When love governs, I will not abuse this temple for spectacle, nor will I despise another's temple for failing to meet my creed. As you sow, so shall you reap. Sow reverence and you reap order. Sow comparison and you reap unrest. Sow obedience and you reap quiet strength. Sow manipulation and you reap the sting of your own device. It is the same with a traffic law, with mathematics, with the load-bearing rules of a bridge. You violate 2 times 2 is 4, and you are not punished by a mood. You are corrected by principle. A line and the bridge stands. A line and the temple stands. So hear the word that steadies the hands of a steward. Thou shalt have no other gods. Do not make a god of health, nor of youth, nor of regimen, nor of your own will. Let the Father within do the doing, and you do the consenting. Then the temple is kept without noise, and the householder is free of fear. Absent from the body as identity, present with the Lord as law, I take my place in the ordered flow. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And I thank you, plain now. Bring this to the kitchen, to the bed, to the street. If grace orders, the ordinary becomes holy. If ego orders, even the holy becomes ordinary. So we take breath and rest and food and movement and place them under the first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me, and they turn not into programs, but into sacraments. I am not managing life. I am consenting to life. God is the actor. I am merely the instrument. Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. Breath first, because breath betrays our clutching and releases it. Do not count. Do not push. Do not hunt for power in the inhale. No. Let 2 or 3 easy exhales lengthen themselves, as if you were setting a bundle down from your shoulders. Shoulders soften, jaw unhooks, belly loosens. The wind bloweth where it listeth. Let it, on an exhale, quietly consent. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Again, not as a device, but as agreement. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then leave it alone. God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. You are not the bellows. You are the witness of life moving through its temple. A few such sighs, taken without drama, tell the nerves, be still and know. They turn the room into sanctuary without a sign on the door. Rest next. Sleep is not a performance. It is surrender. He giveth his beloved sleep. When the inner yes that carried your task withdraws, stop. Do not bargain with it. Obey it. If the light within says enough, then enough. The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Let there be Sabbaths in your day, 5 minutes of stillness, a closing of the eyes, a laying down when pride shouts, push through. No. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. Before sleep, turn the mind from its ledger and say, Father, into thy hands I commend this night. Live thou thy life in me as I lie down. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Wake when you wake. Receive the day without debt or drumbeat. This is not laziness. It is law honored. Energy received as gift, not stolen by worry. Food now. Give us this day our daily bread. Daily, not dramatic. Simple, timely, grateful. Do not eat by headline. Eat by grace. If peace accompanies the first bite, eat. If unrest grows, though the plate remains, set the fork down. Neither austerity nor indulgence. No fasting to polish a halo. No feasting to numb a fear. Take, bless, break, and share within your own mouth. Father, show thyself as this bread. Let every morsel say, thy grace is my sufficiency. Stop when grace stops, not when the plate is empty, not when the chart says a portion, but when the inner consent grows quiet and says, enough. Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, but seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Seeking first does not deny bread, it sanctifies it. Movement, steady, kind, non-competitive. Walk because the river of life moves, and you agree to move with it. Walk in awareness, not in ambition. Do not chase a number. Attend to a presence. A simple walk with God will lengthen the cord without fray. Step and say, thank you. Step and say, I and my Father are one. If grace says pause, pause. If grace says, climb the hill today and the street tomorrow, obey. Your body is not a billboard for achievement. It is a temple for praise. Let us walk in the light of the Lord. Walking in the light is not hurrying. It is consenting to be shown where to place the foot next. Bless each task with a single consecration before you enter it. Live thou thy life in me as I tended this temple. Whisper it before the breath, before the bite, before the bed, before the walk, not to get a result, but to give God his house. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, the intelligence of breath, the timing of rest, the measure of food, the pace of movement are not self-manufactured. They are grace interpreted as function. Keep it secret. Keep it simple. Keep it obedient. And watch how fear loosens and vanity grows quiet as the smallest acts shine with unspectacular holiness. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And I thank you. Non-interference now. Protective boundaries. When the world shouts, do something, push harder, hack the code, the steward bows and answers. Be still and know that I am God. Let it be plain. I never give human advice. I will not tell you to drink this, to buy that, to time your breath by a clever clock, to bend your knee to a guru of metrics. No, no. I invite you into silence where God alone instructs. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. When I meddle, I make a noise. When I consent, the law orders the house. Avoid the sensational attempt to push a result. Coercion violates law, and what you send out in manipulation returns to the sender with its sting. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Don't ever tamper with a cosmic law, because it is a double-edged. Try to command your appetite by vanity, and you will be mastered by the very appetite you whipped. Try to drive your rest with bragging stimulants, and you will be driven by their lash. Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. You do not tempt the river by paddling upstream and call it progress. You are corrected by current until you yield to flow. It is the same with principle. You violate 2 times 2 is 4, and you have brought the wrath of the principle of mathematics upon you, not a mood, but a law. In the same way, try to use spirit, and you are used by your own device. Yield to spirit, and you are carried without bruise. I have studiously avoided mental and physical contacts. I hope you will never try to do them. I will not project power or send thought to fix you. That is interference. Of mine own self I can do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. When a letter comes asking, would you work on this case? Would you do something? My doing is this. I turn within and enter silence. I remove the body from thought, yours and mine, and I wait until the click announces itself. I and my Father are one. In that click, I do not outline a cure. I acknowledge the one. I hold you, not as a problem, but as a sanctuary of the same life that breathes me. I judge not according to the appearance, but I wait for righteous judgment. And often, without a word exchanged, a burden lightens, a fear lifts, a step is ordered not because I projected a fix, but because one life is one. Decline the body as project mind and the bravado of biohacking. This temple is not a lab for ego. It is not a billboard for a brand. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Be content with such things as ye have, not in apathy, but in trust. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, sufficiency is not manufactured by gadgets and hype. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Say it when your feed promises miracles with a discount code. Say it when the calendar goads you to optimize what God already sustains. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Protect the temple from extremes. No swing into austerity to polish a halo. No swing into indulgence to numb a worry. Let your moderation be known unto all men. The Lord is at hand. Moderation here is not timid. It is born of inner assent. If grace says, enough, stop. If grace says, a little more, receive. If grace says, rest now, lie down, even if pride whispers, push. Do not hype your holiness. Do not advertise your discipline. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Keep it secret. Keep it simple. Keep it obedient. In that secrecy, the Father who seeth in secret orders the whole house, and with your neighbor's temple no interference. Do not enter another sanctuary with a toolbox of fixes and a horn of opinions. Love thy neighbor as thyself. To love is to behold God where fear reports a problem. To love is to stand still until you are bidden to speak, and then to let the word be few and full. I never give human advice. I wait. If the instruction comes, call and listen. I call and I listen. If it comes, send a bowl of soup. I send it with no lecture attached. If it comes, say nothing. I say nothing and keep you in the quiet of one. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Not my pleasure, his. This is our safety. Non-interference. It guards from pride on the one side and despair on the other. It keeps the temple under law, not under noise. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand still is not idleness. It is restraint until the click gives the go-ahead. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. When the urge to push, to hype, to fix leaps up, answer it with reverence. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Not results as God, not methods as God. God alone as God. Then the temple is tended without injury. The neighbor is honored without intrusion, and the steward sleeps unafraid. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And I thank you. Fear is the child of ownership. When I clutch a thing and call it mine, my body, my breath, my years, I must guard it from loss. I must insure it against the winds. I must rehearse all the ways it may fail. That is fear's employment, to police an imagined possession. But the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. If the temple is the Lord's, the Lord maintains his own. He that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. Stewardship rests there. I am not in the physical. I am in God. This body is not my property. It is a trust, a sanctuary on loan. When the temple is God's and not mine, fear has nothing to clutch. There are no private corners to defend, no trophies to insure, only a house to keep open to its rightful owner. So what when the tremor comes, when the chest tightens at midnight, when a shadow passes across the thought and the heart begins to count what-ifs? First, we refuse dramatization. No, we will not doom scroll the body. We will not run our fingers over every sensation as if scrolling a feed of threats. Notice, release, listen, respond simply. This is the order. Notice the flutter and call it by its right name. Movement in the temple, not a second God. Release the commentary. No story, no verdict, and turn within. In my oneness with God, I find safety, sufficiency, and right action. Say it not to hypnotize, but to consent. In my oneness with God, I find safety, sufficiency, and right action. Then listen, if the inner assent says, sit up and be still, sit up. If it says, sip water, sip and give thanks. If it says, call for help, call without shame or drama. Respond simply. God is the actor. I am merely the instrument. Do not add a horn section of panic to a single note of guidance. Peace is the evidence of alignment. Agitation is the signal to return to silence. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Peace rules. It is not negotiated. If I act out of fret, I have already stepped beyond the line of law. No, back to the chair. Back to the hush. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Wait until the click of rightness returns, however slight, and then move under that yoke which is easy. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. The world offers reassurance by data, by odds, by comparison. Spirit gives peace by presence. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, safety is not a statistic, but a state of union. I have found, in a night like that, the mind begging to count pulses and search for names. No. Absent from the body is identity. Present with the Lord is life. Lay the hand on the heart as a doorkeeper touches the latch and whisper, Father, thy house is thine. Live thou thy life in me. And then the simple obediences appear, not grand, not numerous. Open a window, adjust the pillow, breathe a soft exhale, or pick up the phone as bidden. Often the very act of ceasing to own returns vitality to its rightful owner, and the storm dissolves as mist before the sun. Perfect love casteth out fear. Love here is not sentiment. It is law obeyed. One God, no other. Understand? Fear is corrected, not fought. You do not wrestle the river to make it flow. You step into it and consent. As you sow, so shall you reap. Sow control, reap dread. Sow consent, reap quiet strength. You violate 2 times 2 is 4, and the principle corrects you. You violate thou shalt have no other gods, and fear will stand at your bed as your own correction. Let that correction return you, not condemn you. 70 times 7. Return. Each return is worship. So the steward walks unafraid, not because nothing can happen to the walls of the temple, but because nothing can touch the life that indwells it. Your life is hid with Christ in God. In my oneness with God, I find safety, sufficiency, and right action. That is the password. When the feed of worry refreshes itself, refuse doom scrolling the body. Scroll the grace of God. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. When peace rules, proceed. When agitation rises, retire into silence until law is felt. Then act simply, obediently, and without trumpet. The owner keeps his house. The steward keeps his hands clean. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and I thank you. If the temple is the Lord's in me, then it is the Lord's in thee. One owner, many houses, no rival temples. Know ye not that ye are the temple of God, and that the Spirit of God dwelleth in you? My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, I cannot honor my own temple and dishonor yours. There is only one life, showing itself as many rooms in one house. If I slam your door, I have shaken my own foundations. If I keep your threshold clean with kindness, I have steadied my own stairs. We are members one of another. This dissolves rivalry. When I want nothing you have, and you want nothing I have, there is no battlefield, only a common table. Envy is the noise of a second God. Cooperation is the hush of one. Thou shalt have no other gods before me is the end of comparison. I am not in the physical, I am in God, and so are you. Under one I can bless without counting, serve without scorekeeping, share without fear of loss. As you sow, so shall you reap. Sow cooperation, reap ease. Sow competition for place and praise. Reap the fatigue of a show. Let us be done with show. Practically, it looks like this. No commentary on another's form. No appraisals. No smirks. No secret verdicts. No whispered autopsies of someone's gait or skin or size. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment, which is to behold the life of God, where eyesight sees a body. If speech must be given, let it be a soft answer that turneth away wrath, a blessing that turns attention Godward, not personward. The grace that keeps me, keeps you. If help must be offered, let it be presence before prescription. Sit with me, breathe together. Wait until peace rules. Then obey the simplest instruction, yours, not mine. Extend the care of the temple outward in reverent tasks. Clean water, shared meals, open doors, patient timing. If you have water, make it someone else's drink without trumpet. If you have bread, make it someone else's supper without lecture. Inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, ye have done it unto me. Do not hurry a weary neighbor to fit your schedule. Let the Lord of the Sabbath write the appointment. A chair offered without comment. A ride given without a speech. A pantry opened without a camera. These are sacraments of one. Not by might, nor by power, nor by policy alone, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Spirit moves the hand to pass the cup. Spirit orders the feet to knock and wait. Spirit gives the word few and full. Where there is hurt, be a quiet room, not a courtroom. Where there is confusion, be a lamp, not a spotlight. I never give human advice. I enter silence and behold God where fear would paint a victim. If the click says, call and listen, I call and I listen. If it says, send a bowl of soup, I send it and keep still. If it says, say nothing, I let the silence preach. Peace to this house. Let no zeal to fix eclipse our charge to love. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. To bear is not to pry. To bear is to shoulder a corner of the weight until grace redistributes it as wisdom. And in community, let the ethic be this. One life, many instruments. One law, many obediences. One table, many loaves. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. When we cease wanting from one another, we begin giving to one another, and the war ends before it starts. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with your true being. Therefore, I cannot harm you without first wounding my own peace. I cannot bless you without first being blessed by the very act. The same life keeps us. The same grace is our sufficiency. So we bless every threshold. This is God's house. We bless every face. This is God's image. We bless every meal. This is God's bread. We bless every silence. This is God's sanctuary. Not sentiment, law, not posture, practice. To love my own temple, I must see and serve the same life in every other. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, for me, for thee, for all. Thy grace is our sufficiency in all things, and I thank you. A day can be lived as liturgy, not by schedule as God, but by God as the quiet pulse within each hour. Make the day a sanctuary by placing its hinges at silence. Morning, noon, evening, night doorways where the steward stands aside and lets the owner pass. This is the day which the Lord hath made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Rejoicing here is not noise. It is consent. Live thou thy life in me through every ordinary minute. Morning first. Before you take the world into your eyes, take God into your awareness. Sit not as a technique, but as a bow. In this position, eyes resting, let the body fall out of thought until you are virtually unaware of having a body. I am not in the physical. I am in God. Whisper once, not to get, but to agree. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then wait, desire nothing, outline nothing. Let the first cue arrive of its own accord. Sometimes a word, sometimes only a hush, sometimes the familiar click announcing, I and my Father are one. When the click comes, the day is already ordered. Do not rush to manage it. Move to obey it. A single instruction may surface. Write this note, cancel that errand, eat simply, bless the house. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Your steps, not your hurry, are ordered. Midday. Give 1 minute back to the owner. Every clock can spare that tithe without fanfare. Stop wherever you are, even among dishes of data, and release body thought. Drop the shoulders of the mind. No commentary, no verdicts. Say within, absent from the body as identity, present with the Lord as life. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Wait for 30 breaths of quiet without counting them. Listen for the gentle correction. Slow here, speak there, drink water now, apologize, turn off the glare, walk outside. It is the same with a traffic law. A brief red light prevents the crash. Midday's pause is a red light of mercy. Obey, and flow resumes in right order. Evening is for gratitude that names the actor, not a ledger of self-praise, a noticing of where. Of mine own self I can do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works, proved itself. Ask softly, where did grace do the doing? Let scenes arise, a word withheld that kept peace, a meal shared, a temptation turned by a single no, a fatigue met with rest rather than bravado. Give the credit where it belongs. Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory. Then ask the second question. What can be surrendered now? Hand back worries, leftovers, unfinished pictures. 70 times 7. Forgive yourself and your neighbor. Cast thy burden upon the Lord, and he shall sustain thee. Sustain, not scold. Sleep then becomes worship, not oblivion. Lay the temple down as a priest lays a vessel on the altar, gently, trustingly. He giveth his beloved sleep. Say, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. Absent from the body, present with the Lord, let the room be simple, the breath unforced, the sheets a white flag of surrender. If wakefulness lingers, do not argue. Return to the password. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Not a charm, a covenant. You are kept. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep. For thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. The keeper neither slumbers nor sleeps. You may hold also 1 hour each week, a Sabbath in miniature, a holy refusal of metrics. No optimizing, no accounting, no spiritual calisthenics. Sit, walk, or lie still with no aim but God. The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. This hour is not a performance. Do not count breaths or pages. Read no improvement. Seek no sign. Be still and know that I am God. Let the body be present and unremarkable, the mind untooled, the heart unbudgeted. You cease from your own works that his may be felt subtle as wind, quiet as dew. Often in such undoing, the deepest doing is accomplished without your help. If you wish for a gentle bell to call you, let gratitude be it upon waking, at noon, at evening, at night, but do not make a god of bells or clocks. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. The clock is not the conductor. Spirit orders the measures. As you sow, so shall you reap. Sow silence, reap instruction. Sow consent, reap holy ease. Make the hours porous to grace, and care becomes a continual sacrament, the temple kept without strain because the owner is in residence. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Therefore, each task of the day is a doorway to one. Step through with the password ready on your lips and in your bones. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, and I thank you. When the day is lived as liturgy, there will yet come a knocking at the temple door. 3 persistent visitors: vanity, urgency, and pain. Do not be shocked when they knock. Be ready. Open not with your name. Open with his. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. At that threshold, each intruder loses its swagger. Vanity first. Catch the idol early. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, including the mirror. Vanity is not beauty. Vanity is worship. The temple is a place of praise, not a gallery of self. When the eye lingers to adore or to despise the form, answer softly, no, this house is the Lord's temple, not trophy. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. If a compliment comes, pass it through to the owner. Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory. Sound no trumpet over your regimen, your restraint, your recovery. When thou doest thine alms, do not sound a trumpet before thee. Keep it secret. Keep it simple. Keep it obedient. Vanity feeds on audience. Starve it with silence. If you catch yourself preening or pouting, smile at the exposed idol and bow within. I am not in the physical. I am in God. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Stewardship rises worship falls. Urgency next. The body panics when the mind makes a god of time. Do not grant it divinity. Slow by law. Be still and know that I am God. Before you change a regimen, before you swallow a remedy, before you text a list of fears, take 60 seconds of holy refusal. Sit, close the eyes, remove the body from thought until you are virtually unaware of having a body. Whisper once not to get, but to agree, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then wait. Desire nothing. Outline nothing. Let the traffic of impulse face a red light of mercy. If the click of oneness comes, yes. If not, hold. It is the same with a traffic law. Obey the pause, and you avert the crash. He that believeth shall not make haste. If after the hush a simple instruction appears, drink water, eat now, postpone, call, obey without drama. God is the actor. I am merely the instrument. Now pain. Neither deny nor deify it. We do not lie about a burning coal, and we do not build an altar to it. Notice, release commentary, listen, respond simply. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Sometimes the guidance says, lie down and rest. Sometimes ice or warmth. Sometimes call for help, obey without shame. They that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. There is no second God in wisdom and skill. God is present in wisdom and skill. The same grace that breathes you works through steady hands, clear eyes, trained understanding. Receive help as you would receive rain on a dry field, without pride, without apology, with thanks. As you sow, so shall you reap. Sow trustful receptivity, reap ordered care. Stand guard against dramatization. No doom scrolling the body, no verdicts. Back to the hush until peace rules. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Beware also the shame spiral that crouches behind every stumble. It whispers, you knew better. You failed. No. Forgive yourself 70 times 7 and begin again with one breath. In returning and rest shall ye be saved. The very instant you notice you have bowed to the mirror, rushed the remedy, or enthroned the ache, that instant is your altar. Stop. 1, exhale. 1, consent. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things now, not later after you improve. Now. 70 times 7. Begin. This is our troubleshooting, if you like. Meet every disturbance with obedience to grace, humble help when needed, and immediate return to oneness. Let God act. Be the agreeable instrument. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, not the mirror, not the clock, not the pain. Absent from the body as identity, present with the Lord as life. And when they knock again, and they will, answer them all with the same key in the same door. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And I thank you. Steward the temple, don't worship it. That is the whole movement of this hour gathered into one bow. You can't leave what you were never in. I am not in the physical, I am in God. No surgeon has ever yet found any me inside of a body. Your true I is non-local. And so care begins where worship ends. Temple, not trophy. We have learned to remove the body from thought, to enter the quiet, to wait until the click of oneness says, move We have aligned with law above ego. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, and we have extended the same reverence across all thresholds. Every body a sanctuary, every neighbor the dwelling of the one. Now we are ready for the simple charge. Let grace keep the temple through you. You are the instrument, not the owner. Law is not a sentiment, it is a principle. As you sow, so shall ye reap. Use the body as an altar for pride, and you reap unrest. Tend it as a trust in love, and you reap order. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. A cosmic law cannot be bent to personal display without the unbending of the soul. Therefore, be still and know that I am God. Resist the itch to manage life as if it were yours. Of mine own self I can do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. God is the actor and the doer and the beer. I am merely the instrument. When the urge to clutch, to boast, to panic arises, answer with the hush that saves. No, no. Back to the inner sanctuary. Back to the one. My conscious oneness with God constitutes my oneness with all spiritual being and idea. Let this be sealed in your very speech as a litany you live. In my oneness with God, I find completeness. In my oneness with God, I find security. In my oneness with God, I find peace. In my oneness with God, I find joy. In my oneness with God, I find fulfillment, not manufactured by regimen, but flowing by grace, not proven by measurement, but evidenced by rest. I and my Father are one. When this oneness is consciously felt, care ceases to be a project and becomes obedience effortless in spirit, exact in practice, free of show. And here is our pledge, quiet and practical. Live thou thy life in me as I tend this temple in simplicity. I will keep the house swept of idolatry, no mirror worship, no emergency as God, no enthroned ache. I will practice the silence that listens before it moves. I will wait for the click that orders the next small step. I will feed the body modestly, as I would keep oil in a lamp. I will rest it when grace says rest, move it when grace says move, and seek help when grace sends help, without shame, without trumpet. I will not make a career of my flesh, nor a brand of my breath. I will do my alms in secret. I will let my moderation be known, not as timid restraint, but as confidence that the Lord is at hand. When I fail, I will forgive 70 times 7 and begin again at once with one breath, one consent, one password. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Carry this same vow outward. Love thy neighbor as thyself means honor your neighbor's temple with the same non-interference, the same readiness to serve, the same refusal to appraise by appearance. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. See God where fear reports a body. See law where gossip craves a story. If the inner word says, sit and listen, sit and listen. If it says, send bread and be still. If it says nothing, let silence do the blessing. One life, many instruments, one owner, many rooms. When I want nothing you have, and you want nothing I have, we meet as stewards of a common house, and the war is over before it begins. So now, go not as owners, but as keepers. Keep the temple by keeping the first commandment. Keep the hours by keeping the silence. Keep the peace by letting peace rule. Keep the body by refusing to make it a god. And when the mind asks for a final word, give it the only word that opens every door we have named. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And so it is.